Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to show you our Sabrina system in which we can develop annual financial statements. And you'll see how quickly and how easily we can actually develop the statements. So we're assuming at this point, we've run the Dunkirk system, we've loaded everything, we have everything sitting in the cloud. Now we want to go and create annual financial statements. So what we do, we're going to go select here and we're going to select the application Sabrina. So I'm clicking on Sabrina. And there we go, and it'll come up the top here. So now you know which application you're in. And now we're going to actually do Sabrina. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with this. We break it up into statements, okay, which is like income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, detailed expenses, notes on a chain we'll talk about just now, okay. Then we have our notes, okay, and these are the different pages of notes, okay. Then we go back to our reports, which includes things like director's report, approval, and this might expand in the near future. We add on other items that people, when auditors report, for example, could go in there as well. Okay, but let's have a look at now how we're going to do this. Let's have a look at the income statement. Okay, so let's build our income statement to start with. So we come back to here. Now we click on here, and we have these three different pages: the format, okay, the coding, and the layout. Now the format is your basic block, okay, that you want to do, the actual content that you're going to show that forms the income statement. The coding is a mapping process where we map what we've got in the Chartered Accounts, again, the trial balance. We're going to map that for the income statement against these codes that we're going to create over here. And then finally, we must get our layout right, and we'll show you how that actually comes about. Now, when I click here, I'm going to go into what we call one of our Z files, okay? These are simple. In this case, it's a design file. So we're going to go into design file. This is a companion spreadsheet. So the main Ark Zen system sits over here, but now we're going to zoom into that. We can go into the spreadsheet. The controls will come from here. So you'll see that we're going to flip backwards and forwards between the two, okay, because that controls the controls at the top here that you want to operate. You must go the right way to tell it, and they won't operate if you're in the wrong sheet. Okay, so we're going to click here, okay, and it takes me into, and this is a thing called our income. So we've got income 201. Now we can have more than one design of income statement, of annual financial statements. We can have, if we have a group of companies, we have a big design for 2 or 3 companies that have got a lot of stuff, and then we want a small design for maybe, you know, just property holding companies or small little companies that we've got. We can have a different design, and we can call that 202 and 203 and 204. There's no limit to how many designs you can have. So this now is going to be the actual list that we want to see. But what I'm going to do before we actually show you this, I just want to show you something. This is now already developed, so I'm going to just rename him and call him IncX. Okay, and now I'm going to click here to form that, and now I'm going to take him to the front here and go read, and right, so I've got him. This is how it would come up blank when you first actually do the thing. So you click on add-ins to bring up the ribbon, okay, and now you click this button over here, which is our format. So we're just going to click here, and it formats the sheet. Okay, now we've got our income statement, and that's what I would have done in order to actually build this. And now I'm going to start populating these items over here. I just wanted to show you that. That's how you get it organized. So it's very nice. You're going into a blank spreadsheet when you call the thing up, but within 5 minutes it's all developed and organized. You do that for each sheet that we're going to show you now. Okay, so let's now just delete that one. Yes, okay, and I'm going to change this, rename back to ink over here. Okay, so now that I've populated, now this information here is what I want to see in my income statement. I've taken this information from the Psycha illustrative example with a slight modification, but fundamentally that's what they've got. Okay, now what we have to do is this link and group. Link is the actual ID of the particular element we're talking about. The 100 series is the inputs coming off the trial balance, okay, and the 700 are the subtotals. And then what we do is we link these up. For example, if that's 701, these two here have 701, which show that they link up to this one. The sum of those comes through to there, and so on. The 702 series goes to 702, 703 goes to 703. So this way we know how to actually do the calculation. That tells us what we've got. Now on the right-hand side here, we've got some formatting. We'll talk about these ones when we come to the balance sheet. But we've got, so now we go to styles. Now we have a basic style that you can adjust, the default style that comes out. This controls your font, what font you want, what size you want, and also vertical and horizontal alignment. So you can see exactly what's happening there. So here you get a chance to change it. These ones we're going to change over here. And this is our underlining here. We can do underlining. One is just a simple thin line at the top. So, for example, for gross profit, we just put the line, and then we want to show gross profit underneath. And this is our total here, which has got a double thick line. So we do a little bit of formatting on here, okay? And then we can save that. Okay, now I'm going to come back to here. Okay, and what we've got here now is the coding. Okay, and what we do is we pull this through and we're getting 34 elements. That's what we've got. That's our total list in our chart of accounts in respect of the income statement that's active. This again might grow in the near future, but that's what we've got at the moment. Now what comes up is it brings up with it what we just plugged in. So we plugged in there up to 108, and now I can do the coding. So I'm just going to come down to here, put it in 0, and now I can do coding. So now I'm going to go here, click there, right click, and then I'm going to go bank charges and settlement discount, bad debts. Okay, those are and bad debts and doubtful discharge. We're going to put all that under operating expenses. Now we're going to go revenue is what we call sales here, and then we want cost of sales goes into our cost of sales here, and then other income goes here, and then we want finance costs can go against interest paid, and interest income can go there. And that's how you code it. And then you click this button. This button over here is your submit button. It's already submitted, so I'm not going to do it again, but that's over there now. Okay. Now what we want to do is we now have to get the layout. Now let's come and look at the layout here. This top section here is what we call the statement title. So we've got here the company name, the registration number, what the statement is. It's going to be like balance sheet or financial position, depending on what you want to use. And this is going to come through here. And then this second portion comes in over here. On the balance sheet, we'll see how we get headings also into splice into this situation. So that's what we've got here. And now I can go and have a look here. If I go and have a look here, he doesn't like that. Okay, click here. He doesn't do that very well. Let's come back here. Let's go back to here. I thought I could get away with that. Okay, let's just fire him off here. Income statement. So there we've done him. Okay, then we've done that, and now we can click back here, and now he's going to show you he's got. And now this is what's come through. So that was what we typed in originally. This is now giving our formatting to these particular lines. We're getting the underlining. It's all coming through here, and that's what we have for this item here. So there we go. Okay, now we can do the same thing on the balance sheet. And it's exactly the same. Let's just show you on the balance sheet. There's a little bit more to be shown. We have a thing here. This is the format. Okay. This is our basic format of the balance sheet, a little bit bigger, obviously. And we've got items here. This is our coding. And again, we get our link and our grouping here, which shows us how to actually do the calculations. A couple of things here. We want on here, this 41 will do indent. So what we want to do, we'll show you now on the template, but we like to have a total heading and then indent all those items that belong to that particular heading, because we think that's a nice, easy way to see what's happening there. So that's one. We also have flip over here. The flip item that comes in here at the very depth, when we bring the stuff through, this will flip the items coming through, because we store everything obviously in credits are negative and debits are positive. But on the balance sheet, we want to show the credits positive. Okay, on the credit side of the balance sheet, we want to show it in positive numbers. So we have to flip that there. Now let's show you how this works. We've got sort over here. So what we do, this one here, this one starts here. It starts here with 201. So we're going to just call this whole thing 201 on the sort order, because what we want to do, we're going to merge our headings in with this. So if I go over here to the headings now, okay, we're going to put this title assets, and you'll see how this comes out, assets and then non-current assets and current assets, and we're going to splice these ones in. So here's where we put up the headings, and we're going to splice them in based on the sort order. So 200 here will go in ahead of 201. And 210 will go in ahead of 211. So you can organize yourself like that. And then here we put in the style. And as we said, the style is going to give you like what font you want, what bold you want, what row height you want. It's going to control that. Okay, so we can get a lot of fine tuning and control in terms of how that works. Okay, let's come back to lay here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's just, okay, now I must go via the main system so that he knows what I'm doing. And now I'm going to fire this one off here, click here, and I've loaded him now, load, okay. And now I can go and have a look over here. And now here's what comes out. There's my headings have come up, and now I've indented this item. Now we choose to repeat non-current assets. So when you're looking at a line, we want to be able to look at it there and see what it is. But again, it's arbitrary. You want to leave that out. You could leave that blank and let the heading here suffice to represent the total. But we actually like to see it. Okay, so equity, for example, we want to see what the total of equity is on those lines. And that's a layout that we've actually done, and you can decide what you want to see, okay, in terms of how that works, okay. So now let's come back to that. Exactly the same thing on the cash flow. We'll see the cash flow come through. Now on the notes, let me talk to you about notes. Now we're going to introduce a concept of notes on a chain. Let's go and have a look at this. What we do here, and we go to notes on a chain. Okay, now over here, this list here is all the notes that we are going to provide for you. All of these notes are available for you that you can select. Okay, and now what you do, you build up your list. This is what you want to see. So you're going to go notes 1 to 8. Okay, and you're going to plug them in here, but you're going to give us our note over here. This is our note, and we're going to know how to pull them through. And things like, for example, shareholders' loans, it will vary in size depending upon how many shareholders we have. Same with long-term borrowings. We're going to show the long-term borrowings, but it might vary in terms of how many actual items you have and what your particular balance sheet looks like. But you pull that through, and then you're going to give us the page number so that you can put more than one note on a page. So by putting the different page numbers in here, now this is still flexible. Though you've told us that's the basic layout, you're going to give us the maximum number that we can have there. If this thing were to exceed a particular item, it would then roll over onto the next page. Okay, so this will sort itself out in terms of what pages it has to go on. The other aspect to bring up here is the orientation. These are all portrait, but where we have things like plant and equipment, we have quite a wide report. Rather than trying to squish it onto a portrait report, we prefer to do it as a landscape report. Very, very easy to do, and we put those at the back because if you've got it as a printed pack, then you're going to have to turn the pack, and then we don't want to do that once. So let's put all the portraits in front and then put the landscape at the back, and the landscape reports will go together. For myself, I would prefer to do it like that and have a nice looking landscape report rather than squishing it onto one portrait report. But we can modify it if you insist. We can actually do it for you so that it will come through portrait. Okay, so that's that one there. Okay, come back to here now. Now let's come back to here, and let's come back to my, I want to come back to, now we can actually go and look at the notes. That'll just runs exactly the same way. Let's go and look at the reports here and go back to the director's report. Okay, and go back to format. Okay, a couple of other things to show here. Here we're getting these paragraphs that come in like that. And what we do is we use the 50 series on the style. And if it's in the 50 series, that mainly controls the row height. And you control the width is done as a separate item on the fixed items, and we can control the width, and then we can control the row height using the 50 series. And the 50 series also ensures that this particular cell gets wrapped. Okay, so we can wrap this item here. We must actually make it justified as well. Okay, so there we go. We've got those items there, and this is how we do the director's report. And that's all there is to it. Once you knock this out and you save it, okay, then you're ready to go and run the accounts. So let's go back here now. Okay, come back to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here, select application, select Phoebe. Okay, and now I'm going to run it. Now this takes quite a long time. Let's just run it. Oh, it took 1 second. There we go. Okay, so that's how quick it is to actually go and do your annual financial statements. And now we can click on output, okay, and we can go down to our annual financial statements. Let's go to statements. Let's go to our income statement. And there we go. There we can see our revenue and our items all coming through like this. Okay. Again, we've chosen to do it in red. You might want to just go black and white. That's up to you. We can change that for you quite easily in terms of how we handle the formatting option there. Okay. So now I can come out of this one. I can go to my balance sheet. Okay, now let's see on the balance sheet. You'll see here on the balance sheet, we've got non-current assets, and now these ones are all indented, showing that this is the total. And we add in the name again. I prefer to repeat the name and still say non-current assets. So I've got a line right opposite my total here, and I know that what it's actually made up of. And then I can see current. Only here on total assets is not indented, so that I know that that one now is the sum of different items here, and we can see what that is. So now I've taken that basic layout I did, and I've put all these items in, and I can see what they were. And you can see here we've got our 35,978,000, okay, and 35,978,000. So this one actually balances. Let's go and have a quick look at our cash flow. Okay, and there's the cash flow. All right, let's go back and have a look at our notes here. Okay, and notes. Okay. And here we go, there's our accounting notes, and this is what comes to shareholder loans and non-current borrowings. We can see exactly what's happening there, and we can do that. And then let's go back and look at our director's report and come back here, and here's our director's report, and we can now see exactly what we've got there and how to sign this off. And there we go. And that's the whole thing, and that's how long it takes to build the actual annual financial statements. And as I said, to run it is a matter of a few seconds, no matter how big you are. So that's how this thing actually works. And we think this is going to save companies an immense amount of time. You can, having used Dunkirk to pull the information through, which also only takes about a minute or so. Once you've done that, now you can immediately go and set up the annual financial statement. So the whole onus of doing this thing becomes so quick and so simple. Thanks, guys.